had the KETTAMA record come out last year. Like these days for an artist, you put out a song and, you might get a few Spotify playlists, etc. And you watch the Spotify counts as they're live. And when that song came out, it was like every playlist. And I didn't see that as a bad thing. I was just like, I'm going to fucking celebrate right now. 13, I actually found myself in a girl group signed to Sony. At the end of the day, it's still going to come down to, do you want a moment or do you want a career?
Hello and welcome to the Beat podcast, where we go beyond the music to uncover the stories behind the artists, records and industry professionals shaping today's dance music scene. Very quickly, before we get started, a big thank you for listening and supporting the podcast. If you haven't already, you know the drill. Please like, share and subscribe. It really does mean a lot. Right, on this episode is KLP. She's got multiple ARIA Award nominations, platinum records, and is one of Australia's most in-demand DJs, producers and vocalists. She's worked with the likes of Skrillex, KETTAMA, Sonny Fodera, DJ Heartstring, SG Lewis, and so many more. And alongside her own artist project, she also works in A&R publishing for Sweat It Out. So let's get into it. Okay, take two. We are live. Christy, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
How are you? Good?
I'm really good. I'm currently in a place called Albury, which is a tiny town almost on the border of New South Wales and Victoria.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you know that in Australia at all.
No, to be honest with you, like Australia blows my mind. Like I was speaking to someone a couple of weeks ago who lives in Sydney, and it all, blows my mind how far away everything is from each other. Like here in the UK, like I can get on a flight from Belfast to London and it's like 1 hour. It's like an 8-hour flight from one place to another in Australia.
Yes. Well, this wasn't too far. It was about an hour flight. But I'm here for 2 days doing a program that our collection society APRA runs called Songmakers. And we go to old high school and we essentially teach songwriting to high school students.
Oh, brilliant. You'd said that you were thinking of like an equivalent in the UK of where you are. Is it raining? Because if it's raining, then it's pretty much the equivalent of the UK at the minute, yeah.
It's not actually raining, but it is cold and it's a very quaint country town.
Yeah. Is it your winter over there at the minute or kind of like autumn?
Yeah, but our winter is, I was wearing a t-shirt today.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So doesn't count.
Yeah, we're recording at the minute. It's the middle of June and here in Belfast, it's been raining straight for the last 3 weeks and it's supposed to be our summer. So, So I'm so glad to have you on the podcast. We've worked together and stuff a little bit over the years. But yeah, I'm really excited to have like a proper chat with you. So I always like to start off the podcast because everyone's like, there's no one route into the music industry. Everyone kind of has their own story. And how did it all start for you? Like, what is your journey at the beginning?
I was one of those kids that ever since day one, all I wanted to do was perform. I was singing and dancing and studying drama. And I went to a school in Australia called Newtown Performing Arts High School. So it's almost like the Fame High School where you audition and get in.
Mm-hmm.
I had a dad that is a musician. He's still a musician to this day. He runs a studio. He's a songwriter. So I grew up coming home every day from school and just sitting on the floor and playing with the little 4-track, recording in the studio, writing in the studio, and knowing all about songwriting. So in high school, I was just desperate to write songs and would turn up for every audition, anything I possibly could. And at 13, I actually found myself in a girl group. Signed to Sony.
Is the music available on DSPs?
No, it's not.
You would say
Thank
that,
God. And yeah, so I had a few years experience professionally from a really young age where we were touring and performing and having media training and all of that type of thing. And then at 16, we got dropped.
Okay.
So my first experience of being dropped from a record label at 16. And, I thought I was going to be the Spice Girls.
Yeah, you thought then your life was over once you were dropped, yeah.
Oh, yeah, devastated, had to go back to school. But I think that experience at a really young age, not only did it give me all of this amazing experience working professionally, But having to deal with that first big setback, or, you know, what felt like a failure at the time, gave me this crazy resilience. And then ever since, I've just been writing music and just trying to find whatever the next path would be. So I guess it kind of set me up in a really weird reverse way of working professionally with a major label and having all of that, and then working backwards and figuring out what I wanted to do rather than being a manufactured pop group as a teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah, and lucky because I had a dad that was a musician. So I was just very much surrounded by songwriting and a studio and recording. It was just a natural part of my life. There was no other path for me.
Yeah, and I think like you'd said, like obviously being dropped, it's never a good thing, and especially at that young age. But like hindsight's a wonderful thing. Like looking back on it, it built up that resilience for you to kind of, okay, I know what has happened. I kind of can maybe navigate it a little bit better moving forward, and like I know how the system and stuff works. So it was a pop band kind of group you were in?
Totally manufactured pop group.
Okay.
The funny thing was, at the time, our songs, I think, were written by, you know, Swedish Britney Spears writers or something. And I was there pitching these songs to Sony Music.
Wow.
My songs were probably horrible, but I think, you know, from the get-go, I understood the value of being a songwriter.
Yeah.
And I was like trying to pitch myself and pitch my songs. But I guess the other thing that gave me was so many skills that then came to play later on down the track. So, you know, a few years later, when I started producing music as KLP, I uploaded a song to Triple J Unearthed, which is a program through our national broadcaster, Triple J. I won a competition. I went in for an interview, and you know, usually young artists, first time they go in for an interview, they're quite nervous, whereas I'd had all of that training.
Yeah.
I went in for the interview, and then a few months later, they offered me a job, and I had my own radio show.
I didn't know that you used to do radio until recently.
Yeah, I hosted a show on Triple J called House Party for 5 years. So I would do 3 hours of DJ mixes and talk and speak to audiences, etc.
Yeah.
3 hours every week.
Amazing. So, like starting off in a like a girl pop group and then being dropped, what was, because it seems as though you were already like doing songwriting and pitching records and stuff then, so that came first, that side of things, the songwriting, before obviously getting into dance music?
I was always into songwriting, I think because my dad was writing songs. So I was writing songs from, you know, 5 years old, and recording them too, because I would have a studio there at my house. So I'd be like, I wrote this song and I record it. So I was always songwriting. So that was very much from the get-go. And I always knew that I also liked to write lots of styles of music. Because it was just fun for me. It was just fun to write something that I would want to sing, but then write something else and flex a totally different side of my creativity.
Yeah.
I still use that skill to this day. But yeah, songwriting came first. And then I think when I turned 18, I started going out and partying. And that's when I got into dance music.
Yeah, because I've looked back on your Spotify and stuff, and you were like a solo kind of artist. You were still like doing dance music, but obviously that has evolved over the years. So what was then the next step? You were out partying and kind of, I guess, found dance music a little bit more that way. What was next after that?
Yeah, so I was definitely into dance music, and I actually learned how to DJ on vinyl just because I had a boyfriend that had decks in his room, and I would pick out the records based off what the cover looked like.
Tastemaker.
And I would just, exactly, yeah. And I would just stand there mixing, not even realizing what I was kind of doing, and that was a job I was later going to have. Once I kind of did the Triple J thing and got that show, I had interest again from major labels. And I fell into a trap that I think a lot of artists fall into when they have a major label, where the label tries to, you know, send them in a direction of certain music they should write. And I'd written some music at the time for an artist by the name of What So Not. It was a duo. It was actually Flume and another artist, Chris Emerson. And that song was really successful. I then ended up on a track with Skrillex and What So Not. And so I found myself on these trap records. I was not a fan of trap at all. I like dance music. But the record labels, and I was young, were trying to encourage me to kind of write that kind of pop trap stuff. So I actually have these releases that you can hear that I was going through that system and being put in pop songwriting sessions, traveling all around the world. I did writing sessions in Sweden and Germany and America, writing with pop writers. And I kind of did that for a while, and then coming out the other side of it, and I guess nothing really connecting, and I was DJing, and I was like, man, I just want to play dance music. And I want to be able to play the records that I make. And so that's when I kind of stripped it all back and started really making sure the only thing I put my name on was something I could DJ in my sets. And I guess that's how I kind of got to the style of music that I'm making now.
Yeah, because you're, like, I would say, somewhat of a dance music triple threat, because you can do everything: DJ, produce, songwrite, obviously the A&R side of things too, which we'll get on to in a little bit. You'd mentioned about like working with huge artists back then, like Skrillex and stuff, and What So Not, and on the trap side of things that you didn't really have that much interest in. What were like influences for you then back then for the sort of sound that you did want to go down?
I just liked making music. So as much as I can say I didn't like trap, I also really loved the process of writing those songs. And if you listen to the one big song that kind of like took off for What So Not, was this song called Jaguar. And it has this big vocal stacked layered thing in it, which I just did because I was just going nuts doing vocals. And I kind of didn't. I thought, this is weird. And I sent it off, but they kept it in the track. I was just fucking around. Like, I just thought it sounded epic. And I was like, I want to sing a choir. And then they kept it in the record. Same with the track I ended up on for Skrillex. I was just yelling shit because I thought that was kind of fun. And then that ended up in a song. So again, I think it was just me always just really loving playing characters in songs and saying, how can I manipulate my voice and how can I produce my voice so it sounds different? So it was definitely just songwriting. But again, that's a very different thing to then saying, okay, but what about tunes I want to play?
And like on the songwriting side of things, I guess you obviously write for so many people and you have your own artist project, and writing for other people, you can get a bit more creative with things, I guess. Like, do you prefer writing for other people than you do for your own artist projects?
I like being able to do both because there's a bit more pressure if it's something that I'm doing. But if I'm writing for someone else, it just feels a bit more like fun and games. And I think you can really hear that in my songs because there's always a character and I'm always singing in a different tone or style and trying to manipulate my voice and just have fun with it. And I feel like the sillier I get, it really works.
And like the $1 million question, what makes a great dance vocal?
Again, I think something that just feels good. If it's something you want to sing to, it just needs to feel good when you're singing it. And sometimes the things that really have worked for me have been the songs that I've written the quickest because they've just come to me when I haven't been censoring myself and I just blurt it out. And it really connects because I guess there's something really freeing through that process.
I'm going to assume that you're lyric over melody.
No, honestly, it comes at the same time a lot of the time. If I get sent a track for someone, I'll quickly listen to it just to check I think I might be into it, and then I stop. And then I wait until I'm sitting in front of my computer in the studio and I press record and almost freestyle and ad lib. And a lot of the time it's one of the first few takes that I end up using. And the lyrics and melody kind of just come as I go for it.
Yeah.
There's some really good ones actually where I would love to screenshot the take number where it says like take 1 or take 2. Like I did a thing for Matroda last year. There was a little bit outside my comfort zone because it was a bit more tech house. But again, I was just being really stupid and like, I don't know if you know the track I'm talking about. It's called Bullshit. And
banger, by the way.
I'm just kind of talking about fuckboys and going like, you think you're the shit, doing pull-ups at the park, and just being an idiot.
Yeah.
And again, I sent it off and thought, ooh, I don't know if he'll like that. And then he fully used it. And I think it was just one take where I just kind of did it and it ends with, I'm sick and tired of your bullshit.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, can I say that? I was like, oh, fuck it, whatever. Like
you've worked with like loads of huge artists, like I'd said before. Is there anyone on the hit list that you would love to work with?
I don't know. I think someone like Tiesto would be really fun to work with. Like I'd actually love to get in a studio with some of these big names. Who else would I want to work with recently? I mean, there's, of course, like Fred again, some Australians as well, Skin on Skin, Sam Alfred, all of those kind of boys I'd love to work with.
Yeah, you mentioned Tiesto. There's kind of a bit of a connection because the collab that you did recently with Dory and Amy Wiles, it came out in Musical Freedom, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. And he's been playing it. So yeah, Tiesto, give me
yeah,
a call.
You're in, that's your in. How did that collab with Dory and Amy come about?
So I went to Ibiza and played my very first show over there supporting Patrick Topping for the Dom Dollar Night last year. And the very first day I flew into Ibiza, KETTAMA was playing. And I just had one of the songs that I wrote for his record come out. And so I went, he was like, yeah, come along to the show. And so I went along and was in the green room and kind of like said hi. And then Amy was there. We met, we kind of, exchanged Instagram, etc. And then she hit me up a few weeks later and said, I've got this beat. Do you want to try and write something on it? And like I was saying before, I quickly listened to it and I was like, ooh, those chords are beautiful. And then I got home, sat down, wrote the idea, and it just came about so quickly. And then I think she got Dory involved. They were playing it out. I think someone sent it to Tiesto and he started playing it out, which is a great sign. And then next minute he signed it and it came out.
Amazing. You'd said, was it your first gig in Ibiza or first time in Ibiza?
Both.
Oh, wow. How did you find it? Your first experience?
I loved it. I mean, the island itself, as you would know, feels so special.
Yeah.
I had a hire car and my brother who lives in LA and is a photographer, he came over and met me. And so we would just drive around to beaches during the day. And then at night, I would just get to go and see these shows and a lot of Australians, Dom. And then I went and saw the Fisher show. So fun, crazy night times and really beautiful, magical daytimes.
Yeah, I think like obviously Ibiza has that reputation of just being party and everything, and yes, it is that, but it's also like it's such a beautiful island, and like you can go to the old town and like go for a little bit of shopping, some like nice restaurants and stuff, and then you can kind of go into the madness, but then you can leave it as well. And you've done something that I have always been meaning to do every year that I go out, hire a car and just drive around the island, because again, it's just gorgeous. Did you go to any kind of like hidden spots or anything while you were driving around?
Yeah, we hit up a few. I can't remember the name of the beaches, but because I had the car, we just went all around the island to all different types of places. It'd be like, oh, that's 40 minutes away. Let's drive there. And just turn up to this little rocky beach and spend the morning there. And in the afternoon, we drive somewhere else and get a spritz on the beach. I mean, you know how it is there. It's just very, you kind of forget the real world.
Yeah, it's so special. So I feel as though like the next kind of big breakthrough moment for you in music was the collab with Space Cadet Energy. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Another one where we had about 2 hours to write a session. or to write a song. And we both brought in ideas, and mine had this stupid vocal on it that went like, I can't even remember, but it was kind of similar, like, loving your energy and loving it. It was like a stupid fun vocal. I was trying to make like a Dirty Bird type of track at the time. And we were like, let's work on that one. And we just like whacked it together. It got a release on an Aussie label called Medium Rare. And it was just one of those ones that exploded. I don't think when we wrote it, we thought it was going to turn into what it did. And then it obviously came out just as COVID was hitting too. And it was a really weird experience because it was exploding everywhere, yet we couldn't play shows.
Yeah.
I couldn't even leave my house, 5 kilometers from my house. And so I didn't actually play it live till maybe over a year after it came out.
That's crazy.
So it was just a bizarre experience of frustrating too, because at the time, I think if COVID wasn't around and I had something like that, then it would have led to touring overseas and so many other things that I think would have really helped my trajectory. But instead it kind of happened, but I couldn't capitalize off it at all.
Yeah.
But again, another one of those things that just builds your resilience.
Why? What was the reasoning for it connecting? Like you'd said that, like, would it have connected as much maybe if COVID wasn't a thing?
Maybe not. I think it's too hard to tell. But again, I think it's a sing-along song.
Yeah.
It's like silly and chanty. And that chanty type of vocal I knew I could do, because here's a hot piece of goss. You know the Australian act Panau. I was working with those guys fresh out of school writing. I had like a project going with one of them, and Nick and I were good friends. And like every day we would get in the studio and write together. And at the time I was teaching singing to kids. And Nick Littlemore had this one idea, which turned out to be Baby. So it's the one that has the like, eh, oh, eh.
Yeah.
Tracking it, baby, I love you. And I tracked the vocals stacking and sounding like a kid. I knew I could kind of do that and again manipulate my voice.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, this is great. And then I said, you know what? I also teach kids. So should we also track some kids?
Amazing. So
we went to a school, and it's if you listen carefully to that song and you know my voice, you can hear my voice in it. It's like half Christy, half kids. Because the kids would be slightly too out of tune.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'd get like a little bit of them, which was natural kid voice, and then me singing like a kid. And then I did all of the vocals for Panau. Anything that sounds like a kid is me. So I knew I could do that, and I hadn't done it in years. But then for some reason I was like, I'm going to do that same technique for Energy. And I kind of sang like a kid and stacked my vocals up.
Yeah.
And if you solo those vocals, or you watched me in the studio while I'm doing that, I look like a lunatic because every single take I'm trying to sound like a different kid, and I'll sing a vocal and I'll be like, all right, this is the real goody two shoes kid. And I'll sing it like, every time you're touching me, I love you. And then I'll be like, all right, this is the naughty kid in the corner. Every time you're touching me, and if you were watching me, you'd be like, what the fuck is she doing? But you put them all together and it sounds like this cool little choir.
Yeah, that's amazing. So off the back of that, like huge records, I assume loads more doors opened for you and more opportunities came?
Lots of songwriting opportunities, but unfortunately not the opportunities to travel and tour off the back of it, which was pretty frustrating. But yeah, lots of opportunities to keep writing songs.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about the radio side of things, because again, I didn't know until like recently that you were doing that, and for so long, like 5 years. Why did it come to an end? Were you just busy with your own project and stuff?
Well, the radio thing was a little bit of a sidestep for me. I never set out to do radio. I was always trying to be an artist myself. But when it came along, I thought, Fuck yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Wow. My own radio show. Cool. And I get to choose the songs and I get to do DJ mixes. And I loved it. It was great. And it also, puts you in this whole other bracket because you almost become like this media personality in Australia. And it was amazing. But my show was called House Party, but it wasn't house music. It was more like house party, a mixture of genres. And so the confusing thing was everyone thought that's what I DJ'd.
Yeah.
So that was one limitation. The other limitation was I knew if I was always the presenter on Triple J, I would never be the artist.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to be the artist. And so after 5 years, I thought, you know what, if I want to there's a segment on Triple J called Like a Version where an artist goes on and covers a song. It's like a very iconic segment. I thought, if I ever want to do that, I can't be a presenter.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to leave to take my artist project seriously.
Yeah. You'd mentioned covers. And by the time this episode comes out, the release will be out. Point of View.
Yes.
Because there's a funny little story behind that. So you had sent it to me. I was about to get onto a flight and I listened to it like 8 times in a row. Loved it so much that I was like, I want to sign this, but you were like, it's already kind of taken. But yeah, tell us a little bit about that because it was to start off as an edit.
Yeah, I was at the start of this year, I was in a place where I think a lot of artists, especially dance music artists, find themselves, which is doing the label dance, where you're sending music out to labels, trying to get it signed and just waiting for feedback. And I had such a big release year last year where it was just like release after release. And at the start of the year, I hadn't, had dates set yet. And my manager said, well, why don't you just do an edit and then put it out for free? And I was like, okay, cool. And my partner, who is a DJ as well, he had just played a friend's party. And I was like, what was one of the songs that went off the most? And he was like, you know what? You know that song, Point of View? I went, fuck, I love that song. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do an edit of that. So originally I started off and, I kind of ripped the stems and slowly started replaying everything. And then I went, I think I can kind of sing that too, or get it close enough. And I ended up replacing everything, re-singing it, and kind of sent it to my manager. And he was like, great. And we're like, cool, we're going to put it out next week. And then because I work for Sweat It Out, they heard it and they went, whoa, 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 whoa. You should release this properly.
Yeah.
And so it got signed. And then because of all the other releases that kind of came about, like the Tiesto one, etc., it then just got bumped and bumped and bumped. But it's finally coming out.
Yeah, it's a banger. Like off the top of my head, I can't think of anyone else that has maybe sampled it or reworked it in the way that you have.
Yeah, I couldn't find one either. And that's why I thought it would be a good one to do. And it's almost like a hidden gem. If you said DD Boulevard Point of View, you go, what's that song? But as soon as you hear it, you go, oh, I know that one.
Yeah. So on like the label side of things, because I guess you see it from 2 different perspectives as the artist and then also on the label side of things, because you are A&R for Sweat It Out. How did that, I guess that was quite like a seamless transition because you come from like a songwriting background and everything. How did that come about?
Yeah, so I'm A&R for the publishing side of Sweat It Out. And it came about because I have a bit of a history of running songwriting camps in Australia. I was the first to run an all-female gender expansive camp about 9 years ago here. And I do a lot of mentoring with artists and things like what I'm doing right now over the next 2 days in regional Australia. And so about 2 years ago, I got hit up by Sweat It Out and they kind of called me and they said, look, we've got this role in publishing. Would you consider it? And at the time I went, no way. Like, I don't want to work on the other side. And they said, look, you're kind of doing it. You're already running camps and you're spending so much time teaming people up with sessions, like very much like I love connecting people and being like, you should work with this person. You should work with this person. And they said, do it for us and use our resources and we'll pay you. And so I just started as a contractor just to see and then fell in love with it because I don't know if I could ever work for an actual label, kind of putting the music out, but I love helping an artist if they have a certain style of music they want to write, or a certain song they want to write, or a sample they want to recreate, or a vocalist they're looking for. That just makes my brain tick. And I love that. I think, again, maybe because I come from the songwriting background and I'm constantly, it's like a fun game for me writing songs and writing music. And so if you came to me and you said, hey, I want to write this country thing,
Yeah.
I would go, okay, country. How are we going to do this? All right, let's go. So I love it so much. There's a little bit of a crossover on the A&R side too. But yeah, I'm more so helping the artist write music, and then I step out.
Yeah, a lot of it, I guess, it's like putting a puzzle and stuff together, and a lot of moving pieces and stuff. And yeah, it just seems to have been like the obvious next step for you to kind of get involved in, because you're very like forward facing and people person and stuff. And like I was similar to you on the label side of things. Like whenever I was initially asked to start doing like A&R, my first response was, I haven't a fucking, like, I wouldn't know where to start. Like, what? Because I come from like the radio background and stuff, and I was doing radio. And then it was at the beginning of COVID that a label had approached me about like doing some A&R work and scouting and everything. And that was my exact response. Like, how do I do that? And similar to yourself, they were like, oh, well, you're kind of already doing it with like radio and picking records and stuff like that. So on like the publishing side of things, because a lot of people might not really know what publishing is, and it's such a weird, because I think a lot of, especially up and coming artists, will just think of the records and the master side of things. On the publishing side, like, do you want to explain it a little bit of what it exactly is?
Yeah, I feel like I spend a lot of time explaining to artists and managers what publishing is. It's surprising how little people understand about it. So from my point of view, there's 3 things a publisher should be doing. First thing is just basic admin. So making sure your songs are registered correctly and any income that's out there in the world is flowing through the correct channels and ending up in your bank account. Second thing you hopefully have a publisher doing for you is A&R. So connecting you with people you want to write with, finding you opportunities, whether it's songwriting camps or vocals or producers, helping facilitate you writing the music you want to write. And then the third thing, which a publisher can do, but also has absolutely no control over. So any publisher that sits there saying, we're going to get you the biggest syncs, is pitching you for syncs. But that one is harder because it's totally out of your control. But hopefully any music that the publisher represents on your behalf, they're pitching forward for syncs. So they're the 3 things that a good publisher should be doing.
Yeah, and then like on the A&R side of things for the publishing, you obviously put sessions together and like songwriting and everything like that, and then it's you have created this record, and then it's over to the label side of things, I guess the master side, to kind of like release it, and it's over to them. Once it's that old A&R saying that once it leaves your desk, it's a hit record, and then it's over to the next person. So it's the master side of things, and then the mastering.
I've never heard that. I'm going to use that next time. It was a hit when I had it.
Yeah. What have you done with it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And although it is through Sweat It Out, the artists, some are on the label side as well, but the majority of artists that I work with release on labels outside of Sweat It Out as well. So can be anyone, and I encourage them to release on other labels too.
Yeah. What are publishers looking for currently and like an artist?
I think different publishers have different motivations. Mine, it's very much dance music, give or take a few exceptions. Again, it just comes down to someone that's a good songwriter and someone that's going to write a fair amount of music, whether that's just strictly under their artist project. Like there are some artists that they don't want to be writing other things. They just want to write under their artist project. And then there are some other artists that do their artist project, but then they're happy to be in co-writing sessions for all different styles of music. I have a bit of a saying that I like to say where I just have a no dickhead policy. So I like writing with just nice people.
Yeah.
I think just people that don't have too many egos and are just happy to just create and be involved in that kind of nice process and build a nice community of writers together. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Major publishers, I think it can be really different, but we're a smaller boutique publisher, so we've got a few more flexibilities around it.
Yeah. Is there anything that you like that kind of stops you in your tracks, or that you're specifically looking for whenever maybe signing someone on the publishing side of things or looking to put them into a session? Obviously, not being a dickhead is at the top of the list.
Yeah. I think if it's someone that is going to be really versatile in sessions, you just want someone that's going to be great in the rooms. And that can be a few different skill sets. It can be the skill set of the producer at the actual computer, being able to create any kind of sound or style of music and being really flexible with that. Or it could be someone that doesn't even touch the computer, but you put them in a room and you know they're just going to create the most amazing vibe. They're going to Rick Rubin it, and they're going to know what to say to bring out the best in the artist and bring out the best in the producer. So a really great song comes out at the other side of it. And that's just a skill that I think some people have, and some people can kind of grow to have just the more sessions you do.
Yeah. Rick Rubin is a great saying.
Yeah. I ran a camp last year as part of ADE Week.
Mhm.
And there were a few artists who came along and they'd never been to a writing camp before. And it's kind of daunting. And we had 47 artists come through over 3 days. And there was one artist who is an amazing producer, but they were in a room with 3 other people.
Mhm.
And they weren't the one on the computer, and they were kind of confused, like, what do I do? And so I kind of pulled them aside and I was like, just be the vibe guy.
Yeah.
You know, like just bring the vibes in there. Like sometimes that's what you need, just to, again, I think, not be overthinking it and just really be in the moment and write music that feels good, especially when it's dance music. You want it to just feel good and be fun. And so you need to have a good energy in the writing room.
Yeah, because like we spoke about it last year whenever we caught up at ADE. It's such a weird concept whenever you think about it, because you're like the music industry, it's huge, but it's also very small at the same time, and a lot of people know each other and stuff. But sometimes you're being put into a room with 5, 6 other people that you've never met before, and like a lot of people can be like introverts, and there maybe takes them a little while to kind of come around, but then at the same time you might only have like 1 hour, 2 hours to kind of write a record. And like what makes a good session for you?
I think, again, people that are quick, they don't censor themselves, they're just willing to go for it, and there's not many no's in the room. It's almost like improv drama, where you have to say you can't say no, you have to say yes and
Yeah.
in the writing room. Yeah, I think that makes a really good session, and just having fun. Like I was talking recently about it and I was like, it's not that deep. And I kind of like that sentiment as well. Like, how much of a privilege is it that we're all here for a few days just writing music? And some people have jobs their whole life that they hate, working with people that they don't like and they don't connect with. And all we have to do today is write songs.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucking amazing.
And I think you kind of need to be like thick-skinned in a way, because you had mentioned there, like you need to learn how to say no quite quickly, and whenever you're in that environment and you bring something to the table, because it is quite like vulnerable, and you're like putting your kind of your art out there to someone else to kind of make a decision on, and it needs to be quite a quick decision in that kind of environment and songwriting and in sessions. So whenever someone says, oh, actually no, I don't like that, like you can't take it to heart, I guess.
Totally. And someone once said to me, you're bigger than one song.
Yeah.
Write another song tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
this is all good. This is just today. And again, I think the more I've done it, like I've written a lot of songs and I've written a lot of bad songs and I've been in a lot of good sessions and a lot of bad sessions. And I I think I've come to learn that my trajectory isn't this crazy viral thing, but I have a really solid career
Yeah.
and crazy resilience. And I really just enjoy the process of it. And sometimes I have to stop myself and again be like, oh, wow, this is my job.
Yeah. Like, I think like, that's a great way of looking at it. It's kind of like compound interest over the years, like releasing solid records after solid records. And I guess the last couple of years, the music industry has pivoted in a way for, obviously, TikTok has been very dominant in that side of things. And it's all right, okay, we need to chase after this trend and kind of look for a viral record. But that's like, you're not going down after that. You're not chasing down after that.
No, the only time I've ever gone viral on TikTok was me on a beach showing off a pocket on some shorts. So, again, I just feel like anytime I've tried to write music like that, it never ends well. And the course that seems to work well for me is to just block out everything else and stay in my lane and just write what feels good and feels fun at the
Yeah.
time.
What was the pocket video? Was there something in your pocket that you were pulling out to show, or what made it?
I was at the beach
Okay.
and I bought these shorts that were kind of made out of towel material, and they had like a little skirt thing at the front, and then you opened it up and it had a fake pocket that said something like for shells.
Did you have like your music in the background for it to go viral or anything? No.
Stupidly, no. I had like some trending sound.
Like on like the trends and everything, because again, you see it from like loads of different angles, from you being your own artist and the publishing A&R side of things. Like, do you think it's easier than ever to break through now, or is it actually more difficult because there is so much noise and so much music being released every day and every week?
I don't know. I think there'd be arguments for both sides of that, but I think at the end of the day, it's still going to come down to, do you want a moment or do you want a career? And for me, it's very obvious that my option is career.
Yeah.
And so, again, I just stay in my lane. And for anyone else, I would encourage them to try and have that type of mentality as well. Like, I remember years ago when I was starting out and you would release one song a year and there would be so much pressure for that song.
Yeah.
And if that song didn't explode or do something, the disappointment you would feel after that. And I see it with young artists these days when they have this song and they think like, this is it, this is my one chance, and it's make or break. And I try and say, no. You're going to release lots of music and you're just starting. Actually, I once saw an interview with Margot Robbie, Australian actress,
Mhm.
and she said something like, I realized that it was just part of my job description to not get jobs as well. And I kind of like that mentality of, I once said this in a workshop. I said, right, you're all artists, and from this day forward, you're employed as an artist. Here's your job description. You're going to have highs, you're going to have lows, you're going to have failures, you're going to have successes. When all of those things happen, even the bad ones where you get a bad email or you lose a gig or a song doesn't go well, when that happens, you're doing your job. That's just part of it. So keep going. And so I try and remind myself that when I'm experiencing those things and go, this is just part of the job. This is what I do. It all comes with the job description, and just keep going. I mean, everyone would love lots of successes, but it's just so out of your control. I don't think you can spend much time focusing on it.
No, you can like hyper analyze everything and try and break it down of why it didn't work and why someone else's like record did work and stuff. But yeah, like for up and coming artists out there who are maybe listening, you're going to get so many no's. Like, you're going to get more no's than you are going to get a yes, but it's kind of navigating those no's. Like, I'm a persistent little shit, and I don't take no as an answer. So I'll always try and find a way to get a yes in some way. But yeah, it's like, again, there's just so much noise at the minute. And like I'm obviously not an artist, but I imagine for an artist, it can become quite like overwhelming at times because there is so much going on.
Definitely. I think I mean, for me, it doesn't feel that way. I think because I've just been in the biz for a long time.
Yeah.
And I know where I sit, but I definitely see it with other artists. And I think it comes down to comparison because it's just so easy to compare yourself to someone else and think, why did they get this gig? Why did this song do well? Why did this happen? But I'm sure Dom Dollar, or I'm sure these big artists still have things that feel like no's to them.
Yeah.
And it's all relative, and we're all wanting more, and we're all comparing ourselves to others. And I just try not to do it. And I can only just encourage people to just really try not to do it.
Yeah. Because it's like, what's that old saying? Comparison is the thief of joy. Like you're not really going to get anything from it. And like you mentioned, people like Dom and stuff like that, and Fisher here, like at the top of their game and at the top of the dance music industry and stuff at the minute. And I'm sure that they will see things that maybe they didn't get, or like they got to know for some reason. And it's just trying to navigate that and take it on the chin. Like I think I saw, like obviously Dom has blown up massively over the last couple of years, but I think it was like 7 years ago or something. He was playing at a bowling alley in Australia, maybe.
Yeah. I've played shows with him for many years. Yeah. And he's just absolutely blown up. I think now when I have big moments, I really try and enjoy it. And I can think very clearly of an example when I had the KETTAMA record come out last year. Like these days for an artist, you put out a song and, you might get a few Spotify playlists, etc. And you watch the Spotify counts as they're live. And when that song came out, it was like every playlist, like fucking ridiculous. And I would open up the Spotify app and I would be like, this is insane. And I think a lot of artists, when they have those moments, they go like, well, this is what I expect every single time. But I had a moment when I went, this won't be here next week.
Yeah.
Like, this is the point. And I didn't see that as a bad thing. I was just like, I'm going to fucking celebrate right now. And then I now have this joke because I know even Spotify numbers kind of go up and down. And rather than seeing it as a bad thing, I'm like, okay, every time I'm going to crack another million or something, I'm going to get a tattoo.
Oh, wow.
Like it's just a fun game. And I know that it will continue to do that. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Is that what you do to celebrate like big kind of milestones, is get a tattoo, or what was the celebration
I have
for the
gotten
KETTAMA?
a few tattoos from milestones. I got one for energy because it made it into Triple J had this thing called the Hottest 100, which is like a huge competition where millions of people vote each year for the hottest songs of the year. And I thought maybe I would make it in, and we're having a party and the numbers were kind of counting down. And I remember saying, I can't even remember what number we were now, but it was something like, if we make it into top 20, I'll get a tattoo. And then we made it in. So I got a...
What was the tattoo, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't even remember. It's a lightning bolt. Oh, there it is.
Love it.
It was on the artwork.
Yeah. So like you kind of mentioned it before. What do you think is the key behind staying relevant in the music industry for so long? Is it just kind of, I guess, putting the blinkers on and just being like, this is what I do, this is what I'm good at, and we're just going to move forward with it?
I think it's a combination of that, and then a combination of being flexible and being okay for things to change a little bit, and I'd had the experience of flexing and suddenly finding myself on the radio. And then recently I've had the experience of going into publishing, which again wasn't something I set out to do, but it's been amazing because I love that experience. It also gives me some regular income and access to so many more artists. So yeah, it's a little bit of a combination of staying in my lane, but then also understanding that things change and that's okay.
Yeah. We're going to wrap it up soon. You've, like I said, but by the time this comes out, Point of View will have been released. Go stream it. It's a banger. It is so good.
Thank you.
What have you got kind of on the runway for the rest of the year, music-wise?
Point of View, and then I have a track coming out through Insomniac. That's just a solo KLP track. A few other little collabs in the works, but none of them have dates yet.
Okay.
But I'm just manifesting some great labels and great releases with people.
And hopefully loads
It's one of those things that there's so many out there in the works, and a lot of people have like vocals on hold from me. And it always happens that, 3 things will want to come out at the same time. And then I've got to juggle and try and negotiate when they're coming out or pull my name off one. So it's a little bit of a juggling session. I think at the moment I've got releases all the way up till October or something.
Yeah. And like you'd mentioned there about having vocals on hold. For someone who doesn't know what that means, like, can you explain it?
Yeah. So as well as making my own music and producing, you could almost say it's like a splice sample pack, or, when producers might go and look through Tracklib or something for a vocal sample, anything that I've written that just ideas I had, or it might be something that I've pitched to someone. And if they don't use it, as long as I wrote 100% of that idea and no one was in the room with me, I can then remove their track and just have my vocal as an a cappella. And I put that in a big playlist, and I have these playlists with hundreds of vocals sitting there. And that's what I can send out to people, and it can turn into another song. It's another great way that I've turned what can seem like a no into a yes, because I might write a song for someone, pitch it to them, they say no, and I go, that's all good. I then put it in my playlist, it gets pitched out to someone else, and it turns into another record. So when a producer maybe wants to use it, it goes on hold for a period of time while they play around with it. And then if it works and they want to release it, then they can release it, and I get publishing and maybe put my name on it. If they don't, then I take it back off hold and put it back in my playlist. It once was called the a cappella graveyard.
But I guess it's like, if it doesn't work for someone, it will work for, like, someone will love it. It's just getting it to that person. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just another way for me to have fun with songwriting. And I think I have this balance of really caring about what I do, but then also not taking myself that seriously in, I think, a healthy way, where it's just, a balance of a little bit of ego, but then just being a bit of an idiot.
A cappella graveyard. Love it. Right. We're going to do a few quick fire questions.
Oh, love it.
So first one, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
No one owes you anything.
Love it. Top 3 dance tracks?
Oh, okay. Oh, geez. Top 3 dance tracks. Are we talking like just now or all time?
All time. Go for it. Sorry, I hate this question, by the way, whenever people ask me, so.
Okay, and I'm also so bad at remembering names, but I could sing you the whole thing, like every lyric. Pajano. I'm always fucking up how to. Yeah. What else would I say? Oh my god, Lola's theme. Oh geez. I'm trying to think. It's like a go-to that I would always play. Oh, for some reason, Riverside came to my head, but that is not
Sydney
the answer.
Samson.
That is not my. That's just going to be the answer for now because it's funny, but it's not the answer. But I'm just going to go with it.
That song always sends a shiver down my spine playing it on the radio. Like, even though I know that it says radio at it, once it gets to that point, I'm always like, ugh. Okay, 3 great choices. You're booking a festival. Who are your 3 headliners?
Headliners. Okay, I'm going to go with Standout, Air Paradise, and me.
Okay, you have to put yourself on there. Favorite TV show?
RuPaul's Drag Race.
Okay. Club or festival?
Festival.
Window or aisle seat on the plane?
Window.
Okay. And finally, favorite hobby outside of music?
Ooh. Gosh, that's a crazy one. Can I say one that I am definitely not, and that is cooking?
Okay. Do you not enjoy cooking?
No, and I'm really bad at it.
Okay, we're going to finish off with a final question, and we're going to get deep, Christy. If you could go back and give advice to your younger self who was just starting out in the music industry, what would it be?
I think it would just be have fun with it.
Love it. Great way to finish off. Christy, thank you so much. Great to have you on the podcast.
Thank you so much. I love your question. So nice chatting to you.